Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Wednesday to you and your family. Hope you're having an amazing day, and we're going to take a look at Terra Classic here once more. Kind of get perspective on a recap from yesterday's video, and obviously make sure we know where it's going to happen next by redrawing out some Fibonacci retracement levels and kind of seeing where we're at, because we do have higher lows and higher highs now, or most recent low, most recent high, of course, and we want to kind of redraw out the Fibonacci retracement levels. So we'll do that and much more, of course. You're new to the channel, again, not a financial advisor, just love teaching people to trade. If you do want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech is a site. Link down below. You essentially can attend my trading academy and my trading community, and of course, albeit as well, and equally as important, my trade signals. So we took some healthy profits here recently, but as you can see, some really awesome community members here just killing it. And look at that here, 257% from long based on recent videos here. So great job, Andrew, for doing that. That is awesome. Either way, my community is just really killing it. So if you want to become part of a really awesome trading community, we have over 1,000 members here. Really cool situation. Check that out in your own time. Last thing too, also to note, is we are all using Bitget as well. It's my favorite exchange in the world, and I can tell you that $10,000 monthly is a nice little prize pool we get to kind of have a healthy competition with, whereas it's really just based on profit and loss ratio and trading volume. Really easy to qualify, honestly. Again, if you use the link down below, go ahead and register. If you want to use that or kind of benefit from that, send me your user ID. I can add you to the list, of course, if you've already registered and been using Bitget. If you're in the States or just a restricted country, you will know that you do have to have a VPN. So obviously, you get 3 months free with a 12-month plan through ExpressVPN. Highly recommend using that. It's my favorite VPN. And again, those two in combination with each other are awesome. So let's go ahead and redraw out some Fibonacci retracement levels and kind of see what's going on here. Because again, most recent high to most recent low, we can kind of see what's the deal. So based on yesterday's Fibonacci retracement levels, the price was increasing and decreasing effectively. In other words, it kept bouncing and rejecting off of a specific level, came down to reiterate or rebounce off that previous resistance to create new support. So what we want to kind of see here is how these Fibonacci retracement levels are going to look and what that might entail. So for right now, the main obvious thing here is this halfway point, which is a common retracement level. When you have a significant retracement from a big jump up like we saw recently in the last 2 days, is this level at 15,300. So 15,300 should and could effectively work as a support level today. What we're hoping for is for that to kind of stay put and for the price to close above that, because if it does close below, we might have difficulty in seeing the price might come down lower. Okay, so again, just some kind of things to identify there. Is this the only tool you want to use when you're trading? No, definitely not. In the 17 years I've been trading, it's a helpful part of the portfolio there, or your overall trading dynamic, but I can tell you it's just like a tool in the tool belt for a mechanic or whomever is building a house, whatever the case is. You need to use a lot of different tools in different ways. Okay, so again, Fibonacci retracement levels are one thing, but it's not the end all be all. Okay, so that being said, to touch on the standard stuff, let's go ahead and take a look at the RSI. We can see that we're bouncing potentially off of 50 on the RSI. When I say bouncing, it's technically just driving right straight through it. But if we get a closure, again, above 15,300, we could very well see that hold and continue higher. We can see it's been a pretty obvious resistance level. Therefore, it should work as a support moving forward. But again, the trading day isn't over yet, so we cannot really use this as a scenario in which we want to base a trade off of. Okay, that's why you want to wait for confirmation. So I'd recommend waiting for today's trading day to close, because we don't have a good enough average yet. While this is a large red candle, it makes sense that it is essentially coming back down based on what I mentioned yesterday. And for some of those folks that might have seen just the clip art and didn't actually watch the whole video all the way through, I wouldn't say shame on you per se, but if you don't understand the big picture, you're never going to fully understand what it's going to do next. And I covered a lot of things and explained that we were super overextended yesterday. Okay, so again, a short position from that higher point here in the 18,000 range makes a lot more sense than a long from that level, because the fact that 3 white soldiers is never a guarantee, and now that we have a bearish engulfing candle, the likelihood of further downside is higher. Okay, so you just got to kind of recognize, you want to look at overextension as one of the primary reasons to take a trade. I would say that's more so what I kind of lean towards, and then other things are kind of secondary. So we'll talk about that here in a moment. But generally speaking, we are starting to lose this momentum to the upside. It's not concrete by any stretch. I think Terra Classic still has potential to increase from here, but we're going to need to see a candlestick closure above the current level in order to have that happen. Okay. Again, this candle wick is way too, or this candlestick is way too large, and it needs to see some kind of pullback. So we'll take a look at that. But keep in mind, Bitcoin dominance is on the increase today, right? It's really the only thing that is green for the moment, whereas a lot of alts are getting hit really hard. So just bear that in mind when you go into a trade with this kind of coin. Long positions are kind of risky at this moment. And again, I did highlight that yesterday, but of course, just something to recognize. So let's take a look at the 4 hour and kind of see. So first of all, TD sequential. Remember I mentioned yesterday, if you saw the whole video, you'll see that this overextension here was likely a short squeeze of some sort, which pushed through that resistance level we have, F16,400. But we are overextended. We hit a 9 on TD sequential 2 times in a row. You see that twice on a 4 hour time frame, the likelihood of pullback, it becomes exponentially larger. So I mentioned that yesterday. Hopefully you took heed. Congrats to my current community members that did, of course. But generally speaking, we're 5 4 hour candlesticks into this bearish turnaround. So hypothetically, we could see another 20 to 24 hours of bearish downside. Okay. Keep that in mind. This is not over by any stretch just because we're tentatively bouncing off a support level. That support level means very little based on the fact that we are extremely overextended going into that, okay? So just kind of driving that home, overextension for the win in both directions, okay? So that being said, we're under 50 on the R side now, so it does imply that we might see 30, which does also kind of confirm that we might see a retest of the 14,500 range. And why I say that is because look at how strong of a resistance that was before it broke through. So that should hypothetically work as a strong support level before it breaks to the downside if it were to. So at this point, based on overextension and the fact that we're only halfway through this process, leads me to believe that we're more likely to see 14,500 versus a strong bounce off of this 15,300 range. Okay, so I do think that we are more likely to see a 14.5 in the near future than we would an increase from here. So I would think that lower would make a lot more sense considering, but again, stranger things can happen. But that's kind of what the 4 hour is telling us. So this 4 hour time frame is really saying we're overextended. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. Very similar circumstance here too. So you see a 9 on TD sequential and a second 9 here, and we're down to a 5. So in all reality, this is extremely overextended too, just to the downside. But you got to recognize that greed is a very real thing, and the likelihood is continuing lower seems much higher to me, even though we are overextended on the hourly. It's not a significant overextension. What I mean by that is if we take a look at just say Bollinger Bands, for example, we're well inside those deviation lines here, and we're not really overextending ourselves too much. It's circumstances like these that have strong turnarounds, not this slow progressive downtrend. This is actually a healthy retracement, if that makes any sense. Okay, so again, just some little things that I kind of like to look at to kind of see. So to me, I would say that 14,500 seems much more ideal than it is not, right? So again, that's just my perspective here. We've kind of tentatively already lost that support level as well, even though we don't have full-on confirmation. Let's see what the cloud tells us. We have, well, triple confirmation here, basically telling us that short position should stay open and that there's no reason to close it because everything is pretty much telling us that a short position is viable. I'm not necessarily saying you should start a short position now if you were to have a tight profit targets, but if you have your short position open, leave it open. It makes a lot more sense to hold that open, okay? Again, all the signs are pointing down right now for the moment, and it's best to kind of respect that and to try to work around that. So to me, if we're going to have a bouncing point, either today or tomorrow or soon, we should see a retest of 14.5. That would make more sense. That seems like a more likely place for the price to bounce than it would at this Fibonacci retracement level of 15,300. Just keep in mind, if we close today above 15.3, we have a chance of holding that level. I would just wait for confirmation before you take any long or short positions. Again, patience is important. It's important to try not to feel like you're missing out. I know it's easier said than done, of course, because over the last 17 years, I've been learning how to do that as well. It takes time to develop, but I can tell you, you're better off not getting too crazy and not taking too many trades at this point, because this bear market we're in right now, you can survive a bear market if you are not trying to get super greedy. Okay, it's all about taking small wins and learning from losses. Again, those are all things we talk about in our trading community. So thanks again to all my current members for just being, awesome and level-headed, and be willing to learn, because it just takes time. Okay, but you'll get there, and I can assure you that I'll be here every step of the way as well. So thanks again for joining me. I look forward to working with you if you decide you want to become a member. If not, thanks again for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one.